Hakkiyoi listeners, let's learn sumo. Osaka Basho, Haru Basho, still going. Day 2 and 3 we're going to cover tonight. Settle in with a cup of tea. This might take a little bit. We've got a fair bit to get through over 2 days. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Clayton. Thank you for joining me on your podcast server or on YouTube. Those who are joining me fresh on YouTube, just remember you can go back and listen to older episodes, learn a little bit more about sumo and what goes on and why it happens. So Osaka's turning into a little bit unpredictable, a little bit unusual. The Haru Basho, as it's called. Day 2. Let's start off. How Yokozuna Terunofuji got his first win after losing to Nishikigi on day 1. Our Sekiwake Daisho, he had a concerning loss to Oho, and he's 0-2 after 2 days. Wakamoto Haru, he's in good form. He's got 2 wins up. So let's go through a few of the matches for day 2. We'll start with our match of the day. Won't cover everything, but match of the day for me was probably Ryuden and Nishiki Fuji. Look, it was a big belt battle. It went both ways. Both guys down the Bansuke a little bit. Nishiki Fuji tried for a bit of a Sapari thrusting hit to get Ryuden blasted out, but pretty good defense by Ryuden in this match. Nishiki Fuji, he got a left inside, right outside grip. Ryuden, he had an outside deep right and a bit of a body grip on the left. Tried to pull Nishiki Fuji over and Nishiki Fuji resisted. It prevented Ryuden getting that hidari, that left grip, by going low. Look, they ended up in a bit of a stalemate with Nishiki Fuji he was trying very hard to get this double inside grip. It is a very strong position to be in, the double inside grip. You can get a lot of purchase on their hip movement and things like that. So Ryuden tried to lift him out, but that double inside grip can help you stop them lifting you out if you've got enough strength. And he did resist, but eventually Ryuden, he overpowered him, got him back to the bales, and Nishiki Fuji stepped out as he was lifted over the bales. Pretty good start there for Ryuden, 2-0. A little bit unlucky for Nishiki Fuji. Yorikiri push out, he is now 0-2. Takeda Fuji and Endo. Takeda Fuji, another win for him. He's got those massive shoulders, really good strong tachiai, got a really good grip, and he used that shoulder power to move Endo over the bales. Shodai got blasted out by a motivated Ichiyamamoto, a Tsukidashi thrust out for Ichiyamamoto. He obviously was a little bit annoyed to lose day 1. Midori Fuji on day 2 after he got absolutely blasted on day 1. He wasn't going to be pushed around again, and he used his low stature to throw some big thrusts at Tobizaru and got him over and over and forcefully blasted him out of the ring. An Oshidashi open-handed push-out, 1-1 for Midori Fuji there. Takanosho showed a little bit of motivation towards Hiradumi, our big round belly man. Similarly blew him away, kept Hiradumi at length and just effectively moved him around and out by good pushing. 1 win each for those guys. Daisho lost to Oho. Daisho, I should say, lost to Oho. My poor notes there. Daisho thrusting it just seems very lackluster here. He doesn't seem to have the strength, and that was repeated on day 3. We'll go into that shortly. Good strength from Oho to resist the Sapari thrusting. He gave it back, forcing Daisho backwards and to the side until he stepped back over. Not a great showing by our Sekiwake Daisho. Tsukidashi thrust out for Oho there. Meisei tried twice to lift Wakamoto Haru over, but a little bit of balance and strength from our Sekiwake, who seems a bit more motivated now, Wakamoto Haru. He resisted both times being lifted, and he got a really good turnover on Meisei with a hand on his belt, 1 on his body. He goes 2-0 after day 2. They called it a Yori Tayoshi. Cross grip knockdown is the Kemarite there, a Yori Tayoshi. Kirishima. Ozeki having a really bad start. He lost to our newcomer Atami Fuji. Look, maybe he's trying a bit too hard. He got a pretty big grip on the front of Atami Fuji's belt at the Hakkiyoi. He went in really hard to get it. Atami Fuji couldn't get a left grip, so he used his arm to create an arm bar on Kirishima. Didn't put him down, but it did change Kirishima's balance a little bit, which ultimately led to his downfall. Kirishima tried to use his grip to pull Atami Fuji off balance, but Atami Fuji is a big lad, and it was a fairly ineffective pull and had the effect of getting Kirishima upright a little bit too far, got his centre of gravity up, and he went backwards over the bales for a pretty kind of weak Yorakiri frontal force out loss there. 0-2 for Kirishima, not real good at all. Seems he's having some really poor sumo by the Ozekis here. Lack of patience, maybe, trying to lift Atami Fuji, left himself vulnerable. Abe was basically a hit and pulled him over day one where he was overcommitted. So our Ozeki Kirishima needs to change what he's doing here. Takakeisho, our other Ozeki, he's Kataban, remember, so he needs a win to stay at Ozeki. He lost to Abe. Abe came out firing and had Takakeisho under pressure. Takakeisho return serve, changed gear and forced Abe back, but as he did, Abe got a hand on the back of Takakeisho's neck and pulled him on the belt at the same time, got him forward as he danced back over the bales. Takakeisho made a nasty hit on the ground as he face planted. They called it a watanage, and we were hoping there was no neck damage for the Ozeki Takakeisho because he does have an ongoing non-stop neck injury, so we're a bit concerned about if he goes down on the neck. I'm not sure what to make of this loss. I think Takakeisho took him a little bit for granted, maybe holding back a bit because everyone's a little bit concerned that Abe will try a henka, a side shift move at the to dodge people at the Hakkiyoi. So maybe he just wanted to double down, take a bit of time, bit cautious. But what that meant was that he took a bit of beating going backwards in the first wave, and then he had to go forward to get himself a bit too committed. So either way, they're a pretty good win for Abe. Maybe his reputation is preceding him. Hoshoryu was pretty much on day two the only one to uphold Ozeki honour, and he had an easy Yorakiri force-out win over Nishikigi. Terunofuji, he had a difficult task of taking on the Osaka boy Ura. He was the favourite in a sea of pink in the Osaka Stadium. There's shirts and towels and fans everywhere when Ura comes out, and he is certainly the favourite in Osaka. Ura made a bit of a decent blunder at the Hakkiyoi. Now, if you go back to January and his fight with the Yokozuna in January, the Yokozuna effectively tried to rip his arm out of the socket. Well, that's what it looked like. It was probably lucky that Ura didn't come out of there with an injury. It was almost a play-by-play replay of January as he went forward and offered his arm like a big gift to the Yokozuna. The Yokozuna, Terunofuji, he did grab that offered arm and used it to turn Ura around and out over the bales. Look, to me, that was a pretty poor effort from Ura. He really didn't learn from January, so a bit disappointed there. Terunofuji gets his first win up after his loss to Nishikigi on the day one. So that got us to day three tonight. A couple of matches we'll rush through. Takeda Fuji, he beat Roga. Roga's back up into Makuchi. A bit more of a hit and shift from the Hakkiyoi, but Takeda Fuji moves it slightly left at the hit and gets one hand on Roga's belt as he went down. Look, it wasn't quite a henka. There was a hit. They called it an watanage, an overarm throw. That gets Takeda Fuji on 3-0. Nishiki Fuji defeated Daimami. Gets Daimami off his mawashi until very late, and once Daimami got a bit of a grip, Nishiki Fuji pulled him back, used an armbar to get Daimami off balance. Totari armbar throw for there. Good win for Nishiki Fuji. That's his first win for the tournament. Kitanowaka defeated Ryuden. Really good grip on the mawashi there. Shimazumi lost to Chiranumi. Chiranumi got a grip, got in behind Shimazumi, helped him out while holding his belt. Shimazumi turned up with a little bit of a sore knee after that one. He's 0-3. The way I saw him limp off, I would not be surprised if he goes Kyujo or slows down a bit even more. His 0-3 is not going to be a good start with that sore knee. Shonanumi beat Ichi Yamamoto, our skinny leg man. Ichi Yamamoto had Shonanumi going backwards to the bales. He got a really good start there. But Shonanumi got an arm and he executed a pretty good Kotanage arm lock throw to see Ichi Yamamoto on the floor. Look, Ichi Yamamoto had that, and it was a pretty good escape from Shonanumi, so Ichi Yamamoto, he'd be a little bit unhappy about losing like that. It was a really good Kotanage. So on to the next one, Sadanumi versus Mitakeyumi. Really big head clash at the Hakkiyoi by the pair of them. Mitakeyumi went hard and had Sadanumi up against the bales, but to Sadanumi's credit, he recovered from that. He got a bit of balance back, got out from under the pressure of Mitakeyumi. In the end, they both got together and they went down at the bales. It was really hard to split them. Maybe Sadanumi hit first. Mitakeyumi had a right underarm throw going on there, so he got his hand up under Sadanumi's shoulder. They went down. Look, I would have said Sadanumi touched his foot at the side of the bales first. Anyway, the judges, when there's a really close decision like that, the 5 judges who are watching from the side, the Gyoji has to point his Gumbai fan to one of the corners. He has no choice. There's no draws these days. So when the judges don't believe that is, or they need to have a chat about it because it's a bit too close, they get up and they have a discussion in the middle, and another judge watches a video replay. It's called a mono-e conference, where they discuss it, and they have to come to a decision. Now, they took a long time on this one, a little bit longer than normal. And in the end, the chief judge said, look, we can't make a decision. It was a bit too close. They called it a rematch, which is called a Torinayoshi rematch, which was a little bit of a surprise because I did think Sadanumi went down first. Anyway, so they had another go. Mitakeyumi, they both went strong at the Hakkiyoi again, and there was another Hakkiyoi, which would have added to the little injury that Mitakeyumi had on his face. But Mitakeyumi, he was motivated. He steamrolled Sadanumi back for a Yorikiri frontal force out. They're both 2-1. Shodai got an Oshidashi push-out win on Hokuto Fuji. Hokuto Fuji, I think he's not doing too well. He's got a bit of a limp, which might explain why he's 0-3 as well. Shodai 2-1. Takayasu beat Koto Shoho. Takayasu doing well. He uses his hips well, Takayasu, to change people's balance, and he kind of rocked his hips around to stop Koto Shoho defending. Anyway, got him up to the bales, stepped him out, Yorikiri frontal force out. Takayasu is now 3-0 in the lead group. Kinbozan versus Onosho, a bit of a big pushing, looked more like a slap in real time, but if you go back and watch the replay, Kinbozan was probably more of a pushing slap on Onosho's face, but it was a pretty fast and furious effort, thrusting, and Onosho in the meantime returned a slap just to return the favour. Neither of them got a really good grip, but Onosho, he got a bit of a grip as Kinbozan tried for an arm lock, but he was off balance and over he went. There was a bit of feeling in that match for some reason. There must be a bit of history there. Either way, Onosho, he's 3-0. He's in the lead group as well. Tamawashi and Gonayama, quick start from Gonayama, no mata there. A mata is where the judge calls a false start. Got Tamawashi going backwards, then backed off a little bit to get his hand on the back of his neck, and Hatakikomi slapped down. Tamawashi went down face first. Midori Fuji and Tsurugishu. Look, Midori Fuji got himself just in a bad position. He didn't seem to get a grip. I wasn't quite sure what he was going for here. I was thinking he had a couple of opportunities to get his hand up under Tsurugishu's arm for a Sukiyanage or a Karasakashi, but he just didn't seem to be committed to it. Anyway, as he got forward, Tsurugishi got a hand on the back of Midori Fuji and pulled him down. A bit disappointing, really, for Midori Fuji, 1-2. Tsurugishi doing all right at 2-1. Onosato, he went for a belt against Hiradumi, but you could see he thought better of it. He grabbed it, let it go, and then he was kind of really controlling Hiradumi's arms and shoulders and elbows, but it was really fast moving, as Hiradumi is like Tobizaru, a little bit of a chaos agent sometimes, big on lateral movement. Anyway, got him back to the bales, and Yorakiri win for Onosato. That was pretty impressive from Onosato. I think he was a bit unhappy with himself after that match, because I don't think it quite went the way he wanted. But either way, he's 3-0 on that score after day 3. Tobizaru versus Oho. Good fight, this one. Tobizaru got it, Hitaki Komi slapped down. Look, there was a pretty good exchange of pushing and thrusting, but Oho couldn't finish Tobizaru off at the bales. He tried for a Hitaki Komi, but Tobizaru kept his feet, really good balance, got a head and a slap down on Oho instead. My notes there just say basically really good balance by Tobizaru, so well done to him. 2-1. Takanosho got to take on the Sekiwake Wakamoto Haru, who's in pretty good form, and I kind of pretty much had already given this fight to Wakamoto Haru before it started. Pretty big touchy-eye hit by the both of them. Wakamoto Haru went for the belt. Takanosho started skipping back. It was a bit of a funny way. I think he was trying to avoid Wakamoto Haru's patented inside-outside grip that basically will end the match. But he couldn't really keep a stable position as he was trying to get lateral movement, and Wakamoto Haru just gave him a finishing push, and he stepped out Oshidashi. Frontal thrust out. Wakamoto Haru 3-0. He's basically leading the Sanyaku at this point. Daisho, our other Sekiwake, versus Abi. Abi went for a big double-handed thrust here on our threshing machine Daisho, as Daisho went forward, but he just did not have any thrust in his arms. If you watch the replay, he was trying for some sort of grab. It was very wishy-washy. It is very clear that there's some sort of elbow injury or arm injury going on there. I would not be surprised to see Daisho go Kyujo here. Abi keeps up a Daisho-style fighting thrusting for an Oshidashi thrust out very easy. Abi 3-0, Daisho 0-3. Atami Fuji takes on our Ozeki Hoshoryu. Really big hit. Lovely inside grip by Hoshoryu. He did try an Watanage twice on Atami Fuji, but I tell you what, Atami Fuji's a big lad. Some good strength to roll him over. Atami Fuji tried a Kotanage arm lock throw, but Hoshoryu is just too strong, and if you see him from the back, his trunk is enormous. It's like a tree trunk, Hoshoryu, and he's just got good fundamental balance when he gets it right. He got Atami Fuji back over the bales for a Yorikiri frontal force out. As I've always said, the last few bashos, I think Atami Fuji just lacks a little bit of body core strength, a little bit of arm strength. He's a bit young, and that will come to him over time. He's certainly got very good sumo sense otherwise. Kirishima, our other Ozeki, he is in trouble, and he was up against the favourite for Osaka, Ura, our pink Mawashi man. And of course, I gave this one the fight of the day, but at the time I wrote my notes, but I might have to change that. Ura lost his balance a bit, but Kirishima just missed an armbar. Ura was then back on the bales, and Ura, as you can see, every time he fights, he goes in very low. That's his old Greco-Roman wrestling style coming out. He goes into the tachi very low. He tends to fight with a very head-down position. That can get him pulled down on occasions. And at this time, when he got back to the bales under a bit of pressure, Kirishima did miss that armbar, and that put him off balance. Ura kind of dropped down his position low on his haunches, and Kirishima, I think he took the bait. He went low for a push out to maybe go in for almost like a spear tackle position, but Ura just came up fast and pulled Kirishima down for a Hitaki Komi slapdown. Look, whether it was a big distraction technique or lucky, either way, Kirishima is 0-3 after day 3, which is a really bad start for him. He wants to, I don't know, maybe just a bit overcommitted, a little bit desperate there. I just thought he was didn't really have a plan B for Ura. Ura tends to fight, and has said before, and even in the interview after this match, he said he didn't actually remember what happened. I think Ura tends to be a bit of a feeling fighter. He tends to just go with the flow a little bit, whereas our Ozeki Kirishima, he really needs a plan A and a plan B and a plan C, and he's got the smarts to do that, but it's just not working at the moment for him. So last couple of fights, Nishikigi versus Kotonowaka. Kotonowaka got this one fairly easy. Good patient win by him. Pushing attack for an Oshidashi thrust out. That gets Kotonowaka to 2-1. Takakeisho versus Meisei. Look, this was a really good thrusting battle. Takakeisho and Meisei really went hard at it. I was actually quite glad to see Takakeisho throwing those sort of Sapari thrusts and push the way he did, because he goes back and forth a little bit and doesn't quite get the motivation sometimes. He went back to the Tawara bales, but he got an arm under Meisei's body and went for a big Sukiyanage beltless arm throw for a win by the skin of his teeth too. Meisei only just went down first. That gets Takakeisho 2-1. Last fight for day 3, Yokozuna Terunofuji versus former Ozeki Asanoyama, coming back from his big suspension. Terunofuji, this was a really good match, and I will say that the Kirishima Ura match versus Terunofuji and Asanoyama, I tell you what, it's pretty close, a fight of the day. Both of them were really good bouts. Terunofuji went straight for his right belt grip. Asanoyama got denied a left grip. He got a bit of a vague rear belt grip with his right hand. They got to a bit of a stalemate as Asanoyama didn't have a left grip. He had a little bit of a right grip at the back. Asanoyama tried a hip drive, but it just went nowhere. He lost his right grip to an upper body grip on the Yokozuna as he tried for a turning throw using his hip power, but Terunofuji resisted with his belt grip. He's a big man. It's obviously much larger than most of the wrestlers. Asanoyama got himself a left front grip as they both struggled to lift each other. They both tried a throw attempt as Asanoyama's Mawashi came a bit loose at the front, but the Gyoji Inosuke, he let it continue. I thought he might consider pulling it up to fix the Mawashi, but they got to another stalemate and they stood there for a few moments. They both struggled for a lifting throw, but the Yokozuna, he just had a better grip, whereas Asanoyama just didn't really. He had a pretty ineffective left grip, and he got lifted out for a Yorikiri force out. Look, it was a really good fight, and if anything, it was a very competitive fight from the former Ozeki Asanoyama. Terunofuji really had to work for this one, but that being said, he has yet to beat Terunofuji in battle. 2-1 for the Yokozuna, so a bit of a recovery after his day 1 loss. So that's day 2 and 3 of the Osaka Basho. I hope you enjoy the fights so far. They've been pretty good. Tonight was well worth watching. I think there's a couple of good ones on tomorrow. Let me just go to my list quickly. The Torakumi for day 4. Let's have a look here. Day 4, Meisei versus Terunofuji. I can't see Meisei winning that one. Takanosho Kotonowaka. I think our Shin Ozeki will get that one. Kirishima versus Asanoyama. Well, to be honest, I would think Kirishima's in trouble against Asanoyama, the way Asanoyama fought tonight. Maybe it took a bit of steam out of him. You never know. Hoshoryu versus Oho. That'll be a good fight. Takakeisho versus Ura. I can't wait for that one. Wakamoto Haru versus Abi. That will be a good fight. Abi's in pretty good form, as is Wakamoto Haru. The other fights, Daisho, he's in deep trouble against Nishikigi if he turns up. Atami Fuji versus Tobizaru will be interesting to watch. Midori Fuji versus Onosato, that will be a good match as well. And Takeda Fuji should take Meguryu fairly easy down the bottom there. So after day 3, let's have a look at who's in the lead for the match so far. So Wakamoto Haru is our Sekiwake. He's on 3-0. Abi, our Komusubi, he's on 3-0. Onosato, Onosho, Takayasu, and Takeda Fuji in our Magashira ranks. They're all 3-0. Our 2 wins, Terunofuji, Hoshoryu, Takakeisho, Kotonowaka, Ura, Tobizaru, Tsurugishu, Shodai, and down a few more into the Magashira ranks. And then our people in trouble. Hiroshima, Ozeki, Daisho, Sekiwake, Tamawashi, Hokuto Fuji, Shimazumi, and Daimami, all on no wins. So that's quite a start to the Osaka Basho. I'll be back after a couple of days with another roundup of the fights, probably day 4 and 5. We'll see how we go time-wise. A little bit of effort to get this together, but I hope you can join me then. Hope you're enjoying my reviews, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for joining me. Hakkiyoi, let's learn sumo.